I said I'm going back to Israel.
Just different.
Hey Brian, what up?
Besides, Shalom,
I know you got your go bag ready.
ready to Babylon bound.
You ain't never seen land, it's a dreamland. Coming out of Egypt made me a free man. Bound by the covenant and I'm loving it. Have you ever wondered why we suffering? No, we not Americans or Africans from the promised land, and we going back again. Gotta be obedient, it's expedient. Cause this time around, God ain't being lenient. You can keep your evergreens and your ornaments. If you ain't baptized, you ain't coming in. Read John 3, gotta be born again. Went through the water, best belief it's on again. This for my peeps living in the project of sin. It's been defiled, so we gotta purge the land. Only through his mercies will he let us in. Dog to his vomit, I ain't going back. Signs of that old man, I ain't showing that. Chillin' with the most high, I ain't blowing.
Shalom family, welcome to another class. Today's topic, 400 years of silence from Malachi to Masiyah. 400 years of silence from Malachi to Masiyah, the MACCABEEN revolt. Okay family, today's class is about this myth. Okay, this is nothing that Yasharada brought up. This is something that the Gentiles, other nations brought up. This 400 years of silence. They deceived us so many ways. But today we're going to bring up this myth, which is this lie that was told us to cover up the Apocrypha. So that way they could cover up Apocrypha and all our prophecy. Because this prophecy happened so close to the time of that chain, that gap between Old Testament and New Testament, that a lot of stuff was lost. But honestly, family, Apocrypha is like that missing link that we need. If we don't have that missing link, this was where the Pharisees, Sadducees came about in Apocrypha and a lot of stuff, and then why Yeshua did what he did, what Paul said what he did by the Gentiles and the Greeks and all that. All this stuff is mixed myth, and also why the New Testament translated from Greek to English and not Hebrew to English. But today we're going to bring this out, okay, family? Again, today's topic, 400 years of silence from Malachi to Masiyah, okay? Maccabean revolt, which is a myth. I'm going to say it again, it's a lie. First, I would like to get honor to our Father, Hayah and Shai Mashiach. Our sanctuary is facing the east. I'd like to say a prayer before we get started. Dear Heavenly Father, Hayah, Shai Mashiach. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for all you have done for us, Heavenly Father. All you do, all you will do, all these secrets that you digging up for us, Heavenly Father. All these treasures, which is your word, Heavenly Father. Your buried treasures, Heavenly Father, that the world try to bury and cover up, Heavenly Father. You blessing us to see them. And they're being revealed, Heavenly Father. Like you said in the last day, Heavenly Father, your spirit gonna fall upon us, Heavenly Father, and your sons and daughters gonna prophesy, and your old men gonna see dreams and all that. Father, this is being fulfilled, Heavenly Father, in our face and before our eyes, Heavenly Father. We thank you, Heavenly Father, for all you have done, all you do, and all you will do. In the name of the Son, Shai Mashiach, so be it. All praise to the high Shai Mashiach. Okay, family, today's topic, 400 years of silence from Malachi to Masiyah. The Maccabean revolt is a myth. Okay, I'm saying it's a myth. Okay, 400 years of silence is a saying given by the theologian Greek Gentile nation to try to cover up the revolt and prophecy of our ancestors, to mute the link or chain between the Old Testament and the New Testament, and to claim our books and to change the names and titles of our book to a Latin title, Bible, which means Biblio. Okay, our book of law, which is Safari Yard, meaning we have laws in Yasharala, that the Greek Gentiles wanted us not to follow our holy laws and to break all our covenants, statutes Ahia had given us. They wanted to convert us to the Greek fashion, so that so their craft was to Hellenize us. Hellenization meaning adoption of Greek culture, religion, language, and identity by non-Greeks in the ancient period colonization of being conquered by other nations. Our books were destroyed by fire by Nebuchadnezzar in 587 BC. Ahia had started to rewrite all the books from creation that Moses wrote, and also the new books that were being written at the so-called time of 400 years of silence. In this so-called 400 years of silence, was the revolt of the Maccabean fighting for the law commandments against all nations. Their goal was to try to mute out our writings and acts of our fathers, to try to claim that the Apocrypha had nothing to do with the Old Testament or the New, trying to mute out that link between the chain between the Old and New Testament by hiding Apocrypha and saying 400 years of silence. And a lot of us went for this myth, family. A lot of us go for this stuff easily. It just sounds good to our ears. Also, in the midst of the revolt, a rewriting of Old Testament was translated into the Greek by the Greek calling the book Septuagint. Now, this book they rewrote Potman Soter, the king of Egypt. You got Potman Soter the first, Potman Soter the second, Potman Soter the third. Okay, so this Potman was in a lot of our ancestors' generation. Okay, he had 72 slaves, 6 out of each tribe of the 12 tribes of Yasharala, to rewrite our law from our book after they destroyed our books and kept some of our books and rewrite our law to their and wanted to make them a book in the Greekish fashion to put their writers in our book. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. Potman Soter rewrote a book called Septuagint, was the first book before King James 1611. He had 72 elders, slaves by Potman Soter. After destroying all of our books and making new copies of our books, Ahia prophesied to Estrada to rewrite all our books at the same time of the revolt of destroying Yasharala. To destroying our temple wasn't in silent, and killing Yasharala wasn't silent. The revolt of the Maccabee Wars was not silent. So, family, all this stuff was not silent. When they said 400 years of silence, these 400 years were not silent. We're going to prove that it in scripture, okay? Ahia prophesied to Ezra, Estratus, about Yeshaya in the 400 years. So this is the key inside Apocrypha that knocks down 400 years of silence. Second Estratus, Ezra, Second Estratus, Ezra, 7:28 to 29. And it reads, if you got your Bibles, go to Apocrypha, please, and read with me. For my son Yeshaya shall be revealed with them, those that be with him. And they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years. Okay, what this is telling us, within 400 years from the time Ahia prophesied to Estratus at this so-called 400 years of silence, Ahia is telling him within 400 years, meaning from that period that he's speaking to Estratus until the time of Masiyah being born, until the time he dies. Okay, he said, within 400 years, and after these years shall my son Masiyah die, all them that have life. We see Ahia still prophesying to his people. And this is so-called 400 years of silence. Ahia told Estratus, Ezra, within 400 years till his son come from this very day. He talked to Estratus. Daniel also prophesied of the desolation of the temple in Jerusalem, the revolt of the Maccabean Wars, Daniel 8 and 1, Daniel 11 through 1 and 5. Also in the book of Sirach, prophesied about the new books, the Greek Septuagint. And when he prophesied about this, you got to realize Sirach was in Jerusalem. Also, he was in Egypt at the time of this 400 years of silence, so-called, right? According to the Maccabean revolt, Sirach was writing these books at this time. A prophet was writing these books. Estratus, Ezra was writing these books at this time, family, okay? It says of the Old Testament, the book of Ezra, the son of Sariah, in Ezra 7 and 1, and in Apocrypha, Estratus 81, the son of Sariah. This proved that Ezra and Estratus is the same person, and his books was taken and separated all of his writings. Now, why in the world would we have Ezra in King James 1611 and Estratus and Apocrypha, but this is the same man. This is the same person. This is the same prophet, okay? This is how Ahia opened our eyes to see the craftiness as how they try to keep deceiving us, okay, family? But we're going to get into the scriptures and break this down more so and prove to you about the prophets that we had prophesied in this so-called 400 years of silence, okay? First scripture I want to go to, I want to go to 2 Esdras 7:28. We're going to reveal and let Ahia bring out this truth according to these lies that they told us, okay? 2 Esdras, you call them Ezra, Esdras, 2 Esdras 7:28. And it reads, "For my son Yeshua should be revealed in those that be with him, and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years." So scripture is telling us that Masiyah will be revealed within 400 years. At the same time, the heathen said that this is 400 years of silence. Wow. 29. And after these years shall my son Masiyah die, and all men that have life. Wait a minute now. It's highest telling the Estrada about his son coming, and what time period he gonna come, and when will he die. Right? 30. And the world should be turned unto old silence 7 days, like as the former judgment, so that no man shall remain. After 7 days, the world that yet awaketh not should be risen up, and that shall die, that is corrupted. And the earth shall restore those that are asleep in her, and so shall the dust of those that dwell in silence. In the secret places shall deliver those souls that were committed into them. And the Most High shall appear upon the seat of judgment, and misery shall pass away, and the long suffering shall have an end. Now, when he's talking about the resurrection of Mashiach. We know in Matthew that when Mashiach died and resurrected, he resurrected the dead. All of our forefathers, all our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they went to the city in Judah and appeared to many. Okay, this is what Ahia telling the Stratas. So they knew about the resurrection and Apocrypha. So family, there's no such thing as 400 years of silence, all right? And we're going to go continue to prove this, okay? We'll go to 2nd Estradas 14:1. 2nd Ezra Estradas 14:1. And it came to pass upon the 3rd day I sat under an oak, and behold, there came a voice out of the bush over against me, and said, Estradas, Estradas. And I said, Here am I, Ahia. And I stood up on my feet. Then said he unto me, In this bush I did manifest and reveal myself to Moses, and I talked with him when my people served in Egypt. So Ahia is telling Estradas that he revealed himself to Moses. Okay, what scripture is that? Exodus 3:14. Now we know Ahia manifested stuff to Moses and gave Moses his name. Okay, let's read it again. Then said he unto me, In the bush I did manifest and reveal myself to Moses, and talked with him when my people served in Egypt. And I sent him and led my people out of Egypt, and brought him up into the mount where I helped him by me a long season. And I told him my wonders and things, and shewed him the secrets of the times and the end, and commanded him, saying, These words shalt thou declare, and these shalt thou hide. And now I say unto thee, that thou hast laid up in thy heart the signs that I have shewed, in the dreams that thou hast seen, in the interpretation which thou hast heard. But thou shalt be taken away from all, and from henceforth thou shalt remain with my son. Wow. And with such as be like unto thee, until the times be ended. Now we know that Elisha was taken up. We know that Enoch was taken up. But this saying also Estradas was taken up. And he's with Yeshua Mashiach. Okay? For the world hath lost its youth, and the times begin to wax old. For the world is divided into 12 parts, and 10 parts of it are gone already, and half of them half of 10 parts. And there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10th part. Now therefore set thy house in order, and reprove thy people, comfort such of them that be in trouble, and now renounce the corruption. Let go from thee the mortal thoughts, and cast away the burdens of man. Put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and hasten thee to flee from these times. But yet greater evils than these which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. And look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much as more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein. So family, he's saying that the world gonna be weaker through age. That's telling us we don't have the powers our ancestors have. We can't go around here casting out demons and all that kind of stuff. We won't have that power, because through the world, the older the world get, the weaker we become. Okay. He said, For the times is fled far away, and leasing at hand. But now hasten the vision to come which thou hast seen. Then answered I before thee, and said, Behold, Ahia, I will go as thou hast commanded me, and reprove the people which are present. But they that should be born afterwards, who shall abolish them? This the world is set in darkness, that they that dwell therein are without light. For the law is burnt, therefore no man knoweth the things that are done of thee, or the works that thou begins. Now, Estratus Ezra is telling how you, that your scrolls, your laws burnt up, okay? But I have found grace in that of thee. Send thy Holy Spirit unto me, and I shall write all that thou hast been done in the world since the beginning, which were written in the law, that the man may find thy path, that they which will live in the latter days may live. And he answered me, saying, Go thy way, gather the people together, and say unto them that they seek thee not for 40 days. But look, thou prepare thee many box trees, and take thee Sariah, Deborah, Solomon, Amos, and Ashiah, these five which are ready to write swiftly, and came hither, and said, And shall light a candle of understanding in thy heart, which shall not be put out, till the things be preferred which shall thou begin to write. When thou hast done something, thou shalt publish, and something thou shalt shew secretly to the wise. Tomorrow, this hour, shalt thou begin to write. And then I went forth as I was commanded, and gathered all the people together, and said, Hear ye these words, O Yasharallah. Our fathers at the beginning were strangers in Egypt, from whence they were delivered, and received the law of life, which they kept not, which ye also have transgressed after them. Then was the land, even the land of Siam, parted among you by lot. But your fathers and yourselves, ye yourselves, have done unrighteousness, and have not kept the ways of the highest and command you. For as much as he is righteous, the righteous judge, and he took from you in the time the thing that he had given you. And now ye are here, and your brethren among you. Therefore, if so be that ye should subdue your own understanding, and reform your hearts, ye should be kept alive, and after your death ye should obtain mercy. And after death shall the judgment come, when ye shall live again, and then shall the names of the righteous be manifest, and the works of the unholy shall be declared. Let no man therefore come unto me now, for seek after me these 40 days. So I took the 5 men and commanded me, and we went into the field and remained there. And the next day, behold, a voice called me, saying, Stratus, open thy mouth and drink that I give thee to drink. Then I opened my mouth, and behold, he reached me a full cup, which was full as it were as water, but the color of it like fire. And I took it and drank. When I had drank of it, my heart uttered understanding, and wisdom grew in my breast. My spirit strengthened my memory, and my mouth was open and shut no more. And the highest gave understanding unto the 5 men, and they wrote wonderful visions in the night, and were told, which they knew not. And they sat 40 days and wrote in the day, and at night they ate bread. And as for me, I spoke in the day, and I held not my tongue by night. In 40 days they wrote 204 books. Now, Highest telling us that he gave Estratus 204 books to write. Now we know Christianity says six books only. Now we got Apocrypha with the 66 books. It's way more than King James 1611, 66 books in Apocrypha. It reads, in 40 days they wrote 204 books. And it came to pass when 40 days were fulfilled, that the highest spoke, saying, The first that thou hast written, publish openly, and they that worthy or unworthy may read. But keep the 70 last, that thou mayest deliver them only to such as be wise among the people. In them is the spring of understanding, and the fountain of wisdom, and the stream of knowledge, so as did so. So, and we see that Estratus wrote all these books for us, okay? At this time of so-called 400 years of slavery, we had rewriting of books, wars, and all of that, okay? There was no such thing as 400 years of slavery. I'm going to say silence, okay? Now let's go to Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes, I'm going to go to 1 and 1. This is Sirach again. I know I read in my last 2 classes, this class, but it's a lot we need to know about Sirach. Sirach was a prophet, okay? He was a prophet at that time. He's a prophet like Solomon, okay? He was also writing books at the same time Astrologers was writing books, okay? That's why the Apocrypha come to be a complete volume, because you had prophets at this time writing books, okay? At the same time of the revolt, okay? Cyrus was in Jerusalem. He went into captivity to Egypt under Ptolemy Soter. And at this time he found a book, which is the Septuagint, that he had 72 elders to translate from Hebrew to Greek. And they called it 72, meaning 72 elders, okay? Meaning the pseudepigrapha, okay? So when they translate this book in all the synagogues in the Greek fashion, in the Greek lands, a lot of our Greek fashion Israelites were reading these books with the idol names on it and the idol pictures in them, okay? But we're going to read the prolonged wisdom of Yeshua, son of Cyrus, whereas many of great things have been delivered to us by the law and the prophets, by others that have followed their steps, for which things Yasharallah ought to be commended for learning and wisdom. Wherefore not only the readers must need to become skillful themselves, but also they that desire to learn, be able to profit them which are without, both by speaking and by writing. My grandfather Yeshua, when he had much given himself to the reading of the law and the prophets and other books of our fathers, had gotten therein much judgment, was drawn on also himself to write something pertaining to learning and wisdom, in the intent that those that are desired to learn or addicted to those things might profit and much more, living according to the law. Wherefore let me entreat you to read with favor and intention, and pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words we have labored to interpret. For the same thing other than Hebrew, translated to another tongue, have not the same force in them. Not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets, the rest of the books, have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. For in the 18th and 13th year coming into Egypt, when Eucharist was king, and continuing the same time, I found a book of no small learning. He's talking about the pseudepigrapha family, the Greekish fashion book that they translated the Hebrew scrolls, the Hebrew Bibles into the Greekish fashion, okay? He said, continuing there some time, I found a book with no small learning. Therefore, I thought it most necessary for me to bestow some diligence into well to interpret it, using great watchfulness and skill in a space to bring the book to an end, to set forth for them also that which is in a strange country are willing to learn, being prepared before the manner to live after the law. All wisdom coming from on higher, and is with him forever. So Sirach is telling us that this book is not a clean book. This is why we get the birth of the Pharisees, Sadducees, Masiyah called hypocrites, because all of the Jews that converted themselves to the Greekish fashion, they was listening and they was following the laws. They was sacrificing swine flesh. They was eating swine. They was breaking all the laws. They don't want to follow them laws anymore. Okay, this is where we get the Pharisees, Sadducees, hypocrites from, and the Apocrypha. Okay, now let's go to Daniel. Also, Daniel prophesied about the Maccabean revolt. Okay, the desolation of the temple. Okay, we're gonna go to Daniel 81. We're gonna read all the way to 27. In the third year of the reign of King Belshazzar, and a vision appeared unto me, Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan Palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river Uriah. Then I lifted up my eyes, and I saw, and behold, there stood before a river a ram which had two horns, and two horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and higher came up at last. And I saw the ram pushing westward, northward, southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will and became great. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came forth the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And it came to pass the ram that had two horns, which had seen and stand before the river, and ran unto him in the fear of his power. And I saw him come close into the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his two horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground and stomped upon him. There was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. For it came up four notable ones towards the four winds of heaven, and out of one of them came forth a little horn. which waxed exceedingly great towards the south and towards the east and towards the pleasant land. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the host of the stars to the ground and stomped them upon them. Yet he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. By him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of the sanctuary was cast down. And the host was given him against the daily sacrifices by the reason of transgression, and to cast down the truth into the ground, and practices prospered. Then I heard one saint speaking to another, said unto the certain saint which spoke, How long shall this be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host be trodden down underfoot? He said unto me, Until 1,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. And it came to pass, when I Daniel had seen the vision, I sought for the meaning, and then behold, there stood before me an appearance of a man. And I heard the man's voice between the banks of the Uri, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and he came and I was afraid and fell upon my face. And he said unto me, Understand, son of man, for that the time is at the end should be the vision. Now as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep upon my face toward the ground. But he touched me and set me upright, and said, Behold, I will make thee to know what shall be at the last, and the initiation, for at the time appointed is the end should be. The ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Mede and Persia. Okay, remember this scripture, family, because he's going to break down everything that's going to happen in the Apocrypha. The ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Mede and Persia. And the rough goat is the king Garcia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Now therefore being broken, whereas four stood up for it, the four kingdoms should stand up out of the nation, but not for their power. In the latter time of the kingdom, when the transgressions are come to a full, the king of furious consciousness and understanding and dark sicknesses shall stand up. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, but he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper in practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. Through his policy he also shall cause the crowd to prosper in his hand, and shall magnify himself in his heart. And by peace he shall destroy many, and shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. And the vision of the evening and the morning, which was told thee, is true. Wherefore shut up the vision, for it shall be for many days. And I Daniel fainted and was sick certain days. Afterward I rose up and did the king's business, and I was astonished at the vision, but none understood it. Okay, family? Now we know that this vision right here, the end of this vision, Ahia didn't prophesy to him. Daniel, he prophesied to Estratus, Ezra, okay? But that's farther in the lesson, okay? Now let's go to Daniel 11:1. Also in the first year of Darius of the Medes, I stood and confirmed and to strengthen him. And now I will show you the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet three kings of Persia. The fourth shall be the richer than they all. By his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Garcia. And a mighty king shall stand up that shall rule with great dominion and shall do according to his will. When he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken, and he shall be divided towards the four winds of heaven, and not to his prosperity, nor according to his dominion which he ruled. For his kingdom shall be plucked up, even for others beside those. And the king of the south shall be strong in one of his princes, and he shall be strong above him, and have dominion shall be a great dominion. Okay, we're gonna jump down because we're not gonna read all this. We're gonna go down to Daniel 11:25. Daniel 11:25. And he shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with great army, and the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very great mighty army. But he shall not stand, for they shall forecast devices against him. Yet they that fed the portion of his meat shall destroy him, and his army shall overthrow, and many shall fall down slain. Both these kings' hearts shall be to do mischief, and shall speak lies at one's table. But it shall not prosper, for yet the end shall be at the time appointed. Then shall they return to his land with great riches, and his heart should be against the holy covenant, and shall exploit and return to his own land. In the time appointed he shall return and come towards the south, but it shall not be as the former and latter. For the ships of Shittim shall come against them, therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the holy covenant. So shall he do, and he shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsake the covenant. So we know that again. I'm gonna say it again. This is the birth of Pharisee Sadducee. We had a lot of Yasharala that went and they wanted to do the Greek fashion. They wanted to eat swine flesh. They wanted to break the laws. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. 30. For the ships of Shittim shall come against them. Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the holy covenant. So shall he do, and he shall return and have intelligence. This is how he gonna have intelligence, or they gonna our people gonna tell him with them that forsake the holy covenant. And arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of the strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifices, and shall place the abomination that make it desolate. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. And but the people that do know high, they're a higher, should be strong and do exploit. So exploit mean they're gonna revolt. Exploit mean they gonna revolt. This is the Maccabee brother. They're gonna fight back, okay, for our laws, right? And that they that understand among the people shall instruct many, yet they shall fall by the sword and by the flame and by captivity, by spoil many days. Now they that shall fall, they shall be helping a little, but many shall cleave unto them with their flatteries. Yes, a lot of traitors and Yasharala gonna cleave to them with their flatteries. Some of them of understanding shall fall, and to try them and purge them and make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet a time appointed. And the king shall do according to his will, and shall exalt himself, magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the higher of gods, and shall prosper to a nation and be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done. Neither shall he regard the higher of the fathers, nor desire women, nor regard the God of that he should magnify himself above all. But he should, but in his estate shall he honor a higher fortress, and the God whom his fathers knew not shall know he honor with gold and with silver and with precious stones and with pleasant things. This shall he do in the most strongholds with the strange God whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many and shall divide the land for gain. And at that time of the end shall the king of the south push at him, and the king of the north shall compass against him, like as a whirlwind with chariots and horsemen, with many ships and with us. And he shall enter into the countries and shall overthrow and overpass and pass over. He shall enter into the glorious land. Many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab, the chief of the children of Ammon. He shall stretch forth his hands upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. He shall have power over the treasures of the gold and silver, over all the precious things of Egypt, and Libya and Ethiopians shall be at his steps. The tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Therefore he shall go forth with great fury and destroy and utterly make away many. He should plant his tabernacle in a palace between the seas and glorious holy mountains. Yet he should come to his end, and none shall help him. Okay, family, this is the prophecy of Daniel prophesying about the Maccabees brother, about the revolt, okay? And that the Maccabees brother going to fight back. But we're going to get into Maccabees revolt right now. We're going to go to Maccabees 1 and 1. First Maccabees 1 and 1. And it reads, and it happened after Alexander and Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of Persia and the Medes, and reigned in his stead first in Greece. So this is what Daniel was prophesying about. Okay, so again, there's no 400 years of silence. And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth, and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted in his heart and was lifted up. He gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tribute unto him. After these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants such as was honorable, and he had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he yet was alive. And Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. And his servants bare rule every one in his place, and after his death they all put crowns upon them. So did their sons after them. Many years the evils were multiplied upon the earth. And there came out a wicked root Antiochus, surnamed Euphrates, son of Antiochus, king who had been in hostage in Rome, and he reigned in 137 years in kingdom of Greeks. In those days he went out of Yasharala, a wicked man. Again, in those days went there out of Yasharala wicked men who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathens that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have much sorrows. Again, family, this is the birth of Pharisee Sadducee at this time in the Maccabean revolt. Okay, so this advice pleased them well. Then certain of the people went forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathens, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the custom of the heathens, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsake the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathens and were sold to do mischief. And then the kingdom was established before Antiochus. He thought to reign in Egypt, and he might have dominion over the realm. Wherefore he entreated into Egypt with a great multitude with chariots and elephants and horsemen and great navy. He made war with Ptolemy, king of Egypt, but Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded. So Ptolemy family is Ptolemy because the king of Egypt, you have Ptolemy the first, Ptolemy the second, and Ptolemy the third. This Ptolemy was in a lot of generations, okay? This is also Ptolemy that had got the 72 elders, which were the 72 slaves, to rewrite our writings of our book of our law into the Greek fashion, which is called the Septuagint. The Septuagint is an old Bible, old book, way before the birth of Masiyah, okay? I'm going to say it again, Septuagint was way before Masiyah. Now we can kind of understand by reading Apocrypha, the Acts of our fathers and the prophets in the New Testament, what they were saying and what they were doing, okay? And honestly, it's a big question mark. Do Greeks really belong to the New Testament, okay? That's a big question mark, right? He said, and made war with Ptolemy, the king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled. Many were wounded to death. This they did the strong cities of the land of Egypt and took the spoil thereof. And after Antiochus had smitten Egypt and returned again in the 143rd year, he went up against Yasharala and Judah in great multitude, and entered partly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar and the candlesticks of the light and the vessels thereof, and the table of shewbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the vials, and the crowns, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, which was put off. He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which were found. And when he had taken away and went into his own land, having made a great massacre and spoken proudly. So family, this was a massacre. They was killing Yasharala. This was not a 400 years of silence. Therefore there was a great mourning in Yasharala in every place where they were, so that the princes and the elders mourned, and the virgins and the young men were made feeble, and the beauty of women had changed. Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in marriage chamber was in heaviness, that the land was moved for the habitation thereof, and all the house of Jacob covered with confusion. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collectors and tribute into the cities of Judah, which came into Jerusalem with great multitude, and spoke peaceable words unto them, but they were deceived. For when they had given them credence, they fell suddenly upon them in the city, and smote them very sore, and destroyed much people in Yasharala. When he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire and pulled down the houses and the walls thereof on every side. But the women and the children took they captive and possessed the cattle. Then built they a city of David, a great and strong wall with many towers, and made it strong hold for them. And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortified themselves therein. They stored also with armor and vegetables. When they had gotten together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there, so they became sore snare. And it was a place to lie and wait against the sanctuary and the evil adversary of Yasharala. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side in the sanctuary and defiled it, insomuch that the habitation of Jerusalem fled of them, whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, because strangers of those that were born in her and her own children left her. The sanctuary was laid like the wilderness, her feasts were turned into mourning, and the Sabbath a reproach, and her honor and contempt. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Moreover, the king Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, that everyone should leave his laws and so also the heathens agreed according to the commandments of the king. Yeah, many of the Yasharala consistent to the religion and sacrificing the idols and profaning the Sabbath. He said, for the king had sent letters and messengers to Jerusalem, to the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbids burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, that they should profane the Sabbath day and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary of the holy people, and set up altars and groves to chapels to idols, and sacrifice swine flesh and unclean beasts. They should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable in all manner of unclean and profaneness. In the end, that they might forget the law and change the ordained. So, family, the whole thing was these nations want us to forget our laws. They don't want us to do nothing according to our laws. And that's why they want to give us this Septuagint, this Bible, this Bible, this Bible without the laws. And only preach to you the New Testament, okay? In the self same manner wrote he, the whole kingdom appointed overseers over all the people, commending the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. Then many other people were gathered unto them, to wit, every one forsook the law, so they committed evils in the land, and drove Yasharala in secret places, even whatsoever they could flee for security. Now the 15th day of the month, Celsius, 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar and built idols altars throughout the cities of Judah and every side. So this is what Daniel prophesied about. Again, the abomination, desolation of the altar, okay, and the revolt of the Maccabees brothers, okay, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses in the street. When they had rent in pieces the book of the law, that law which they found, they burnt them with fire. So this is what Estratus was talking about when they burnt all the laws and all the books. This is stuff that happened as they spoke, family. This was like right in the midst of this action of the revolt of the Maccabees brother, Estratus, all of them, and Sirach, all of them was rewriting our books at the same time all this war going on, okay? He said, 57, and whosoever found, now let's go back to 56. And when they had rent in pieces the books of law which they found, they burnt them with fire. And whosoever found with any book or testament, or if any man committed to the law, the king's command was that they should be put to death. This did they by their authority unto the Yasharala every month, to as many as were found in the city. Now, the 25th day of the month did they sacrifice upon the idol's altar, which was upon the altar of Ahiah. And that was time, according to the commandments, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. So we know for a fact, family, they did not want our Father's name in this book. Why would they give us a name with our Father's true name in the book? They killed you if you said his name, okay? He said, we're going to go back up to 60 again. And according to, 59. Now, the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol's altar, which was upon the altar of Ahiah. So they changed Ahiah name right then to their gods, right? At which time, according to the commandments, they put to death certain women that had caused the children to be circumcised, and they hanged the infants about their necks and ruffled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them. Howbeit, many of Yasharala were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. Wherefore, they rather died that they might not defile them with the meats, that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. There were very great wrath upon Yasharala. Family, this was the day of slaughter. And they're going to say 400 years of silence? That's blasphemy, family, okay? Okay, let's go to Maccabees, First Maccabees 2:1. In those days, Mathaniah, son of John, son of Simeon, the priest of son of Jerah from Jerusalem, dwelling in Midian, had 5 sons: Jonan, son of Sidis, Simon called Thidis, Jairus, which is called Maccabeus, which means hammer, Elizur called Abram, and Jonathan, whose surname is Apis. When he saw the blasphemy that them were committed unto Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see the misery of my people in the holy city and who dwell there? When it was delivered into the hands of the enemy and the sanctuary into the hands of the strangers, her temple has become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young man with the sword of the enemy. What nation has not had part in her kingdom and has gotten her spoils? All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman she has become a bondslave. And behold, our sanctuary, our beauty even, our glory is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. To what end thereof should we live any longer? Then Mathaniah and his son rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned sore, very sore. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came unto the city of Midian to make them sacrifices. When men of Yasharah came into them, Mathaniah also and his sons came together. Then answered the king officers and said to Mathaniah on this wise, Thou art a ruler and an honorer and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore come first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as the heathens have done. Yea, the men of Judah also, such as remain in Jerusalem, so that thou and thy house and thy number of the king's friends, and thy children should be honored with silver and with gold, and many rewards. And Mathaniah answered and spoke with a loud voice, Do all the nations be under the king's dominion, and obey him, and fall away every one from his religion of our fathers, and give consent to this commandment? Yet will I and my sons and my brethren were in the covenant of our fathers. Let me read that again. And yet I and my sons and my brethren will walk in the covenant of our fathers. How forbid that we should forsake the law and ordain. We will not hearken to the king's word to go from our truth, neither to the right hand nor to the left. Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice upon the altar, which is at Midian, according to the king's commandment. Which thing when Mathaniah saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his room troubled, neither could he forbear to show his anger according to the judgment whereof he ran and slew him upon the altar. Also the king commissioners who compelled the men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he put down. He dealt Thus dealt he justly for the law of Ahiah, like Pennis did unto Zebariah, the son of Shalom. And Mathaniah cried through the city with a loud voice, saying, Whosoever is zealous for the law and maintain the covenant, let them follow me. He and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that everything they had in the city. Then many of them that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there. But they of their children and their wives and their cattle became afflicted, increased sore upon them. Now when it was told the king's servant, the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were gone down into the streets to the secret palace in the wilderness. And they pursued after them, in great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day. And they said unto them, Let that which ye have done hereunto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandments of the king, and ye shall live. But they said, We will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day. So they gave them the battle with all speed. Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the place where they lay hid. But they said, Let us die all of our innocence. Heaven and earth will testify for us that ye put us to death wrongfully. So they rose up against them in battle, and on the Sabbath they slew them, their wives, their children, and their cattle, and the number of them was about 1,000 people. Now when Mathaniah and his friends understood thereof, they mourned for them right sore. And one of them said to another, if we do as our brothers have done and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth. And that therefore they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come and make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against them, neither will we die, all of our brethren that were murdered in secret places. Then came there unto them a company of Sabians, who were mighty men of Yasharallah, even all such as were violently devoted into the law. Also all they that fled for protection joined themselves unto them, that they was a stay unto them. So they joined their forces and smote sinful men in their anger and wicked men in their wrath. But the rest fled to the heathens for security. Now we had wicked people that fled to our oppressors for security. Again, this is the birth of the Pharisees, Sadducees. Then Mathanias and his friends went round about and pulled down the altars, and the children soever they found within the coast of Yasharah uncircumcised, they circumcised them violently. They pursued after also the proud men, and the work prospered in their hand. So they recovered the law. They recovered the law out of the hands of the Gentiles, out of the hands of the king, and they suffered. They sentenced to trample. Now they had the book. They recovered the book. Okay, they recovered the book because the Gentiles, the Greeks, they were destroying our books. Now this time they were rewriting our book to the Septuagint. Okay, so now Mathanias and the Maccabees brothers, they recovered that book back. Okay, one of the books back. He says, so they recovered the law out of the hands of the Gentiles, and out of the hands of the kings, neither suffered they the sinner to trumpet. Now when this time drew near, Mathanias should die, that he said unto his sons, now has pride rebuked, gotten strength in the time of destruction and wrath and indignation. Now therefore, my son, be zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Call this to remembrance, that what acts of our fathers did in their time, so shall you receive great honor in everlasting name. Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation? Was reputed him for righteousness? Joseph in the time of distress kept the commandments and was made of Adonai of Egypt. Penance our father being zealous for the Pharaoh obtained the covenant and everlasting priesthood. Yahshua fulfilling the word made a judge of Yasharallah. Caleb for being a witness before the congregation received the heritage of the land. David for being merciful possessed the throne of everlasting kingdom. Elisha for being zealous for fervor of the law was taken up to heaven. Ananias and Azarias and Masiyah being by believing were saved out of the flame. Daniel for his innocence was delivered from the mouth of lions. And just consider ye thoughts all ages, that none that put their trust in him should be overcome. Fear not then the words of the sinful man, for his glory shall be dung and worms. Today he shall be left up, and tomorrow he shall not be found, because he is returned into the dust, and his thoughts shall come to nothing. Wherefore ye may, my sons, be violent and shew yourself man in the behalf of the law. By it shall ye obtain glory. And behold, I know that your brother Simon is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him in all ways, and he shall be the father unto you. As for Judah Maccabees, which mean hammer, he had been mighty and strong, even from his youth up. Let him be your captain and fight the battles of the people. Take also unto you all those that observe the law and avenge the wrong of your people. Recompense, recompense fully the heathen and take heed to the commandments of the law. So he blessed them and was gathered to his people. And he died in 146th year, and his sons had buried him in a sepulchre in his father's of Midian. And all Israel made great lamentation for him. Okay, family, we're going to read First Maccabees 3 and 1. We'll go to 31. And it reads, wherefore being greatly perplexed in his mind, he determined to go into Persia, to take thee the tributes of the countries and gather much money. So he left Lycia, a noble and one of the blood royal overseers of the affairs of the king in the river Euphrates unto the border of Egypt, to bring up his son Antiochus until he came again. Moreover, he delivered unto him the half of his fortunes and the Alps. He gave him charge of all things, and he would have done, as also concerning them that dwell in Judea and Judah, To wit, that he should send an army against them to destroy and root out the strength of Yasharallah in the raiment of Jerusalem, to take away their memorial from their place, and that he should place strangers in their quarters and divide their land by lot. So the king took half of the forces and remained in the departed from Antioch, in the royal city 147th year, and having passed through the river Euphrates, he went through the high country. Then Lysias shows Ptolemy, the son of Demetrius, Nisr, and Gorgagas, mighty men of the king's friends. And with them he sent 40,000 footmen and 7,000 horsemen to go into the land of Judah to destroy it, and to as he commanded. So they went forth with all the power and came into pitch and eminences in the plain country. And the merchants of the city, hearing the fame thereof, took silver and gold and much with servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Yasharallah for slaves. A power also the Syrians in the land of Palestine joined themselves with them. So man, we had so many people that wanted to buy us for slaves and trade us and kill us. Now when Judas and his brethren saw the miseries were multiplied, and that the forces did encamp themselves in the border, for they knew how the king had given a commandment to destroy the people and utterly abolish them, they said to one another, let us restore the decayed fortune of our people. Let us fight for our people in a sanctuary. Then was the congregation gathered together, and they might be ready for battle, that they might pay and ask mercy and compassion. Now Jerusalem lay void in the wilderness, and there was none of her children that went in or out. The sanctuary also was trodden down. Aliens kept the stronghold, and the heathens laid their habitation in that place. And the joy was taken from Jacob, and the pipe of the heart ceased. Therefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Mizpah over against Jerusalem. To Mizpah was the place where they prayed aforetime in Yasharallah. Then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads and rent their clothes. And they laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen sought to paint the lights in their images. So now remember, they received the book of the law. First they were burning them. The Maccabees brothers received the book. Okay. Now they got the book. Now they want to read this book. Okay. He said they laid open the book of the law, when the heathen sought to paint the likeness thereof. Now it's another verse, and I think it's an NIV book. Say that they open the book of the law, where the heathens put their idols in the book. So the Bible is telling us, family, that they not only they open the book of the law and drew their images, they changed the names. They said they're idols. So this is how they made us worship their idols. Again, so two of them Bible was out way before King James 1611. We've been deceived always from the Apocrypha. Apocrypha is the book that opened our eyes and enlightened us. Also on the Pharisees, Sadducees, hypocrites, which in this time of revolt, this was the birth of traders in Yasharallah that wanted to destroy. They knew Masiyah was coming. They wanted to help the oppressor destroy Masiyah. Okay, but we're gonna keep reading. It said they laid open the book of the law, when the heathens sought to paint the likeness of their images. That okay. Now we're gonna go to First Maccabees 5:1. Now when the nations round about heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before, it despised them very much. Simply because our sanctuary, they hated us, family. They want to destroy it. They don't like us at all. Wherefore they thought it destroyed the generations of Jacob that was among them, and thereupon they began to slay and destroy the people. Then Jairus fought against the children of Esau in Idumea, and an Arab obtained, because they besieged Galilee, and he gave them great overthrow and updated their courage and took their spoil. So this shows you that we've always fought Esau. Esau always wanted to destroy us. They always been crafted against us, family. We're gonna go down to 15. Second Maccabees, First Maccabees 5:15. And they said to Ptolemy and to Tyrus of Sidon, and all Galilee of the Gentiles are assembled together against us to consume us. And we'll go down to 65. Afterward they went Jairus forth with his brethren and fought against the children of Esau in the land toward the south, where they smote Hebron and the towns thereof, and put down the forces of it, and burned the towers thereof round about. So they're showing us, family, that all this slavery, all this captivity, all this stuff did never stop in law. It went through Apocrypha all the way to the day. so we have visual, we can see it. Ain't no such thing in 400 years silence. Our Father never stopped talking to us. This book that sealed that gap between the Old Testament and New Testament. Okay. And now we're gonna go to Second Stratus on 2. Second Stratus, Ezra 2:43. And read. And in the midst of them was a young man, higher stature, taller than all the rest. Upon every one of their heads he set a crown, and was more exalted. And I was marveled greatly. So I asked the angel, said, Sir, who are these? He has said to me, These be they that put on immortal clothing and put on immortal. They have confessed the name of a higher. Now they are crowned and received psalms. Now 144,000 had a higher name written on the forehead. Now these are people are crowned according to the name. So this is a precept to Revelation 17:7-1, Revelation 14:1. Okay, I'm read again. And in the midst of them was this young man of high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set a crown, and was exalted, which he marveled greatly. So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said to me, These be they which have put on mortal clothing and put on immortal, and have confessed the name of a higher. Now they are crowned and receive songs. Then said I unto the angel, Who is the young person that crowned them, and giveth them psalms in their hands? So he answered and said to me, This is the son of Ahiah, whom they have confessed in the world. They began to greatly commend them that stood stiffly for the name of Yeshua Masiyah. Family, this prophecy and all it's saying in the book of Apocrypha, this is the key to New Testament, Old Testament, get a better understanding in both books, okay? Because this is one book. All these books go together. Ain't none of our books separate. Okay, I'm saying again, ain't none of our books separate. All right. Then the angel said to me, Go thy way and tell the people what manner of things, how great wonders are high thou hast seen. So Estrada had to come back and confess that it's about the name, about our Father's name, right? That why they was crowned. These are the books that was written at the time of this so-called 400 years of silence at a revolt of the Maccabean brother. But we're gonna get into and we're gonna go into the read of the birth of the Greek Septuagint of this Bible that's been out before Masiyah was born. Again, like I said, that's why this will make you understand New Testament more, because why in the world was New Testament went from um, Greek to English? Why wasn't it read from Hebrew to English? Because it was to see what's even more so. Okay, we're gonna read off this carnal page called um, the birth of the Greek Septuagint. Okay, it says 282 BC, the birth of the Greek Septuagint, LXX. Historical accounts of the translation proceed in Alexandria and Ptolemy II. The Greek Septuagint, extra large, okay? It said the Septuagint is a Greek translation of the entire Old Testament pre-Christian era Jew. The city of Alexandria, founded in 331 BC by Alexander the Great. Now these names, family, is in Apocrypha. So, like I said, this is everything. Everything happened according to this Greek Septuagint, this book, this Bible that they rewrote according to our law and changed the names and put the Lord God in it. All other Bibles sprung from this book was called the Septuagint. Okay, he said the Septuagint is a Greek translation of the entire Old Testament by pre-Christian era Jews, by pre-Christian era Jews. Okay, again, the Pharisee side is a hypocrite. Okay, that's why the Israelites had a lot to do with all this deception of deceive us. Okay, our president knew really how to deceive us. We had Israelites that went on their side that wanted to help them deceive us. It says the city of Alexandria was founded in 331 BC by Alexander the Great. 2 years after he conquered the Persian Empire in 33 BC. Just 10 years later, in 323 BC, he died at the age of 32, and the Greek kingdom split, fulfilling the prophecy of Daniel 8 and 8, Daniel 11:34. Ptolemy Soter became Pharaoh in Egypt, king from 323 to 228 in 295 BCE, and they instructed Demetrius of Ptolemy. So, family, this this is just telling us, family, that we have to study. We have to go into these books. We have to really read Apocrypha, not just take notes from other people. We have to know these books. We have to know higher words. We have to have a personal relationship with a higher inside Masiyah. Okay, the Bible says, "Study to show thyself approved to higher and right divide His word of truth." Again, family, 400 years of silence is a myth. It's a lie. Okay, that's a saying to cover up our truth. But this D.O.C, I hope y'all get some out of this today. I love y'all. Please study. Read that Apocrypha and get to know Book of Daniel, the prophecy. Even in Masiyah, I prophesied about Daniel, his prophecy. Okay, we see that Ahia prophesied about Daniel in Estrada. He said he didn't tell Daniel everything. Okay, he said also he had told Estrada a prophecy that he didn't finish telling Daniel. But like I said, this D.O.C, I love y'all. I pray y'all got some of this class. I love y'all. Shalom. Y'all do the rest of y'all. Shalom. Shalom.